All right, let's dive right into the deep end, into the dark, philosophical heart of the superhero cosmos.
So let's start with a really challenging idea. What if the universe isn't meant to be saved? We see our heroes win, right? Over and over again. But what if all that is just a distraction? What if this whole endless cycle of good versus evil isn't a story about hope at all, but just this horrible fatalistic loop of suffering? We're going to explore this really chilling idea that maybe the universe is a kind of cosmic nightmare, one we're all trying to wake up from. And this image, wow, it really captures that pessimistic cycle perfectly. This isn't just a simple struggle, it's a machine, a perfect philosophical nightmare. It's what's called the Schopenhauerian trap. Think about it. Being forced to exist creates suffering. That suffering then creates hate. And that hate fuels the very machine that forces you to exist in the first place. It's a horrifying, self-perpetuating engine that literally runs on pain. So, to really get a grip on this horrifying engine, we have to go back to the 19th century and talk about a philosopher named Arthur Schopenhauer. See, he came up with this idea of a great cosmic lie. The idea that the world we all see and touch is not the real deal. It's just a carefully constructed illusion.
Schopenhauer gave this illusion a name, the Veil of Maya. And here's the wild part. For our analysis, that veil, it's the entire DC or Marvel multiverse. Yeah, the whole thing. It's this incredibly elaborate story, filled with heroes and villains, all of it designed for one purpose, to hide the true and frankly much more painful nature of reality.
He basically called it a dreamlike state, this veil of deception that makes us see a world that you can't even say if it's real or not. So think about the endless reboots and crises in comics. What is that? Well, according to this idea, that's just the veil, constantly weaving new distractions, new stories to keep us from ever peeking at what's really behind the curtain.
Okay, so that's the big question, right? If our entire reality, the whole multiverse, is just one big illusion, what's it hiding? What's the engine powering this whole deception?
And boom, here's the answer. Behind that veil, it's not some other better world. It's a single unified force that Schopenhauer called the will. And this diagram, it shows how that one singular will gets shattered, like light through a prism. That prism is what he called the principle of individuation. It's the lie that tells us we're all separate people. And that lie, that separation, that's what leads to ego, to conflict, and yeah, to all the suffering in the world.
So, what exactly is this will? Well, it is not a god. There's no plan here. It's totally irrational, it's blind, and it has no goal. It's just this striving, a relentless, insatiable hunger that drives everything. And because it can never be satisfied, that constant, unfulfilled wanting is the one true source of all pain. All of it.
Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine you're on a cosmic treadmill, and you can never, ever get off. The will is the engine making that belt go faster and faster, forcing you to run endlessly. And the Veil of Maya? That's the TV screen right in front of your face, playing all these superhero stories to distract you from the fact that you're trapped in an exhausting, pointless run.
Okay, so that's the pretty horrifying philosophy behind all this. But now let's bring it back to the comics. Let's see how this abstract concept stops being an idea and actually takes on a physical, living, breathing form. And this right here, this is the absolute core of it all. On the left, you've got that abstract philosophical diagram of the will. And on the right, you've got null, you've got the void. The whole point is that these two things, they're basically identical. These cosmic monsters are the living, breathing manifestation of Schopenhauer's will. Yeah, we're not talking about just another supervillain with a grudge here. A being like the void is the will made flesh. It's that primordial chaos from before time, but now it has a consciousness, a horrifying one. It's the universe's own engine of pain walking around. So this is where it gets really weird. When the void tries to wipe everything out, to return it all to darkness, it's not just being evil. It's what's being called a dark final act of Schopenhauerian resignation. The goal isn't just chaos, it's a twisted form of mercy. It wants to end all suffering by taking the universe back to how it was in the beginning, quiet, dreamless, and unconscious. It's trying to flip the off switch on that cosmic treadmill.
And we need to be really clear about what the endgame is here. This is not about some blissful, happy union with the divine like you might find in some philosophies. No. Schopenhauer's path to freedom is a path to nothingness. It's an ultimate peace that's a lot like the Buddhist concept of nirvana. It's about finding that deep, profound quiet that can only come from, well, not existing at all.
You know, this idea of a terrible truth hiding just under the surface, it's not new. It taps into some of our most ancient fears about the universe. This is straight up Lovecraftian horror, right? The idea that our whole reality, the entire multiverse, is just this paper-thin sheet stretched over some vast, uncaring, cosmic truth that would literally break your mind if you saw it. So the Void isn't just some big bad guy you can punch. It's a peek at that terrifying, maddening reality.
And just to make a quick comparison, if you're thinking biblically, the Void is not Satan. Satan is part of creation. He's a rebel within the system. The Void is much, much older. It's more fundamental. It's the darkness upon the face of the deep from Genesis. It's the chaos that was there before God said, "Let there be light." And it's always trying to take everything back.
Okay, so if this is the horrifying truth of the universe, what does that mean for the heroes? Where does a character like Superman even fit into all of this? It means that every time a hero saves someone, every punch they throw for what's right, it becomes the most profound act of rebellion you can possibly imagine. Because if the universe is truly built on an engine of pain, then being a hero means you are consciously, defiantly rejecting the very foundation of reality itself.
And this image just says it all. The symbol of hope gets turned into a sword of defiance. Suddenly, being a hero isn't about winning some final battle, because in a loop like this, there are no final victories. It's about asserting meaning, asserting compassion. Even if it's temporary, even if it's totally futile, it's about fighting a rebellion you know you can never truly win.
Which brings us to this one last really provocative question. In some of these stories, you see these characters who are terrifying not because they're powerful, but because they're complete slaves to their own desires. They're a perfect embodiment of that relentless will. So if our own lives are also defined by that constant, hungry striving, does real freedom come from fighting harder, or does it sometimes require surrendering that very will to exist in the first place?